here. This morning I'll be addressing a homicide that took place in Capitol Heights, Maryland, that has left our community in shock and family in mourning. On January 18th, the Metropolitan Police Department of D.C. contacted the Prince George's County Police for assistance locating Alexis Schuler, who had been reported missing on January 14th. With the assistance of Police Chief Daryl Morgan in the Capitol Heights Police Department, the Prince George's County Police Department issued a search warrant at the home of Devontae Gray of Larchmont Avenue in Capitol Heights. While inside the house, our homicide detectives and evidence team, along with the Prince George's County Fire Department, located Ms. Schuler's remains inside a newly constructed wall. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner determined that the victim had been shot. Devontae Gray was taken into custody at the scene. During questioning, Gray confessed to murdering Ms. Schuler and was charged with first-degree murder and related charges. Gray is now in the custody of Prince George's County Department of Corrections. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victim's family and the loved ones during this difficult time. Some of the family members are here today. Last year, there were 21 domestic-related homicides in our county, indiscriminately affecting families across all demographics of race, age, and socioeconomic status. Each act of violence shatters lives, leaves behind deep pains that last for generations to come. We must speak out against this violence, especially domestic violence, that steals our safety, our feeling of safety, our security. Some of these things I talked about just last week. Crimes are not just stats to us. Each crime that is a stat, it equals a person, a victim, a survivor, and each person, they have family and friends that are deeply affected. The Prince George's County Police Department will continue to engage our faith leaders, our residents, our businesses, and a great of trust, compassion, and partnership. Prince George's County also provides resources for victims of domestic abuse. Together, we will advocate for policies and actions that hold offenders and repeat offenders accountable. Violent crime and domestic violence must stop. We owe each other that. I want to make a special thanks, though, to Chief Smith and Metropolitan Police Department, D.C., and especially Detective Howard for his diligent work in these efforts. And I have here today also Executive Chief Wright and Captain Pulliam. We appreciate MPD and their team in helping bring Devontae Gray to justice, to start this first run for justice. I also want to extend thanks to Capitol Heights Police Department and the work that they've done, and to bringing some resolution and a small step towards closure in this horrific homicide. I will say a special thanks to our team, the Bureau of Investigations, Major Crimes Division, Homicide Unit, Married 30s, and special extended thanks to Detective Taylor for all the work that goes into these type of cases, and as traumatic as it is for family, and we become united and with each other. And Prince George's County Police, we stand with you in this road to justice as we pass the baton over to our state attorney's office to pursue justice. Now, I would like to bring up Capitol Heights Police Department Chief Daryl Morgan. Chief Morgan.
Thank you, Chief Aziz. I'm the chief of Capitol Heights. I've been there approximately 5 years, and it is a small community. And these kind of events are impactful on a multitude of levels. We came in contact with this matter on January 14th when the Metropolitan Police Department reached out to us for a welfare check. The victim had not been heard from in a few days, and we went by the location to check on her welfare because she was last known to be in that location. Unfortunately, we were unable to locate her in the facility, at which time we reached out to the Metropolitan Police Department to update them and provide them with additional information. Working with them and gathering evidence and video footage, we were able to get enough information so that they could coordinate with the Prince George's County Police Department and get a search warrant, which led to the eventual arrest of the accused, as well as the identifying the location of the victim. This is a tragic situation. Domestic violence is a horrible thing, particularly if it leads to this type of situation. And my heart and soul goes out to your family. I don't think we can say anything that's going to make you feel any better today, but I want to thank also Prince George's County Metropolitan Police Department. We work very well together. We're all in the immediate area, and we depend on one another, and in Capitol Heights in particular, as a small department, small community, have to depend on these other organizations for assistance in these complex matters. And we were able to resolve this very quickly, but my heart, as I listened to Chief Aziz speak, wish we had been a day or two early and able to locate her and help her where she needed that help. And sometimes we just get there a little late and things kind of fall apart. So it is a heavy heart that I have for the town because we're a very close family in that community, and these things hit very hard. So my deepest condolences to the family. And I know it's going to take some time to work through this, but we are standing behind you 100%. And in that regard, I want to bring up the state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy, who's going to speak on the technicalities of this case.
Thank you. It's a tough day in Georges County. This is a community of families, and when we see families hurting, we see families in pain, it hurts us. And even though, unfortunately, we've been here before, it doesn't get easier each time at all. In fact, it gets more difficult because we want to ensure that no family has to feel this pain. And it hurts us to know that, that you're hurting so much. And we know that no words that we can say, no justice that we can provide to you will be enough justice, because justice would be to have Alexis here. That's what we do know. But what I can tell you is that you have an amazing team working on your behalf. You have an excellent police department, both county as well as our municipal police departments. You have a state's attorney's office focused and committed on getting justice for you. My chief of special victims is assigned to this case, and so you will have one of our most senior prosecutors prosecuting this case, and we intend to deliver justice for you and for the community, and for Ms. Schuler, and for her children. She's not just a victim, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a cousin, she's a niece, she's a sister. She had rights. She had a right to be here. And she's so young, 29 years old, 29 years old. So this is a very sad day. But I just wanted to let you know that Devontae Gray, who has been charged with first-degree murder in this case, will have a bond hearing later today. The state will request that he be held without bond. The family, I believe, plans to be with us for the bond hearing. That bond hearing should take place around 1:15 p.m. at the courthouse. And we will take it from there. But just know, again, that you have the most experienced team working on this case. I want to thank our partners at MPD for providing us critical information as we pursue justice. And again, thank you to the community and especially the family for sticking with us. Understand that we will be providing services to you to make this time a little easier. The state's attorney's office, we do provide direct contact with Maryland Crimes Victims Fund, which provides services and resources to victims of crime. Last year, I went to Annapolis to support a bill sponsored by our governor to bring those resources to our victims of crime a lot faster and with a lot less red tape. And so it is because of cases like this where we know you have to bury your loved one. It was unexpected. Those will be significant expenses. We know that you will need counseling. We know that the children will need counseling. We can provide those services to you, and we look forward to working with you as we pursue justice for you. But just understand, we understand that there's a financial cost to this as well, and we want to make sure that you have all the resources that you need. So thank you all so much for being here, and I believe, am I turning it back over to you or the family? Okay, 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 thank you.
Thank you, State's Attorney. As Chief said, every crime, every victim has a family. I'd now like to bring up the family. Aunt Kizzy, Cousin Derek, Cousin Sade, and Cousin Dwayne. Derek has a statement he'd like to read.
On behalf of our family, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who came together in the search for Alexis Schuler. Although the outcome is not what we had hoped, we take solace in knowing that Alexis has been found and we now have the closure to lay her to rest in peace. We want to extend a special thank you to Detective Howard for his unwavering dedication, even taking calls on his days off and collaborating tirelessly with the Prince George's County Police Department. We also deeply appreciate the efforts of Corporal Laurie, Detective Stout Marshall, and Officer Montgomery, who worked diligently to bring answers to our family. We are profoundly grateful to my mom, Kizzy, our cousin at the Wright Family Foundation, Ward 8 Councilman Trayon White, cousins Monet, Kunaje, and Alexis Angels, her close friends, Jayla, London, Deja, Michael, and Dabrion, as well as the many strangers who shared posts and prayed for Alexis. Your support and compassion mean more than words can express. It is because of your collective efforts that Alexis was found and her case was solved in record time. This list of thank yous is long because it truly took a community coming together to give us the closure we needed. Alexis will be deeply missed, and there is a void in our family that can never be filled. Her 3 children will no longer feel their mother's embrace or hear their mother's voice, and all she wanted was to come home to them. We want to take this moment to shed light on the reality of domestic violence. Alexis' story is a painful reminder that this is not what love looks like. Someone who truly loves you would never do what Devontae Gray did to her. Please take domestic violence seriously. If you are going through this, look at my cousin's story and know that it is a call to wake up, seek help, and prioritize your safety above all. To the community, we urge you to pay attention when you see missing flyers. These are real people with real families who love them. Your vigilance can save lives and bring much-needed closure to other families. Thank you again for standing with us during this incredibly difficult time. My cousin can now rest in peace, and we are forever grateful to all of you who made that possible. With deep appreciation, the Schuler family. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions, if there are any.
Was there any indication leading up to this tragedy that, I know that she didn't report it missing, but any kind of sign ahead of time or any kind of domestic violence, protective orders in place or anything like that? And if you could talk a little bit just about the relationship with
Well, let me say they do share a child together. And that's why we have called it domestic. Any indication I think you heard before from Chief Morgan, from the state attorney, Brayboy, it is domestic violence is real. People are, whether they're calling the police or they're letting family members know, it's very real. So I think there's always an indication when someone is involved in domestic situations that it won't end, well. It's going to be a problem, and so I can safely, say that. If you want to talk about, more specifics about that address, then I have Chief Morgan here. He may want to address part of that.
Just briefly, we had a few calls to that residence over the last 6 to 8 months. Dealing with those individuals, but nothing noteworthy that would have leveled up to an arrest or an investigation. Basically, just complaints on one another.
Chief, it was him who was complaining about her using domestic violence calls, and I believe in the past he sought protective orders to charge her. State's attorney, I see, is itching to get up as well. For you as well.
I was just gonna.
Do your officers advise these situations? I mean,
Well, can I just say this, from what we can see, that the protective orders that he sought were not granted, that there was essentially no legal basis to grant the protective order. So people can seek protective orders, and actually the standard is relatively low to get a protective order. So I think it is significant that he was not granted a protective order when he sought it.
looking at this case, I don't even ask a question of this. I mean, after she was already gone by the time police were called in, right? I think it's the belief in this case.
Our first visit in the month of January was on January 9th, where we actually saw her driving by the residence when we responded to his call for complaint. So she was alive. We know on January 9th. On the 14th, when we went back for a welfare check based on a request from MPD, there was nobody in the house at the time when we went to that location.
How much effort was there required to find the body inside that stairwell?
Well, as you know, and this is a legal standard, we can't just go into the house without a search warrant, and the Prince George's County Police Department was able to obtain one and go through that process of identifying the location.
Yeah, I guess that's subsequent to that, after that happened, when you knew that there could be a body somewhere inside the house, like what drew you to the stairwell and how hard was it to discover the body inside?
I'm going to turn it over to the chief in a second, but I do want to say this. We worked very quickly with the Metropolitan Police Department, who in turn worked very quickly with Prince George's County. You're talking probably less than 5 days, which seems like a lot, but it's very quickly for investigation. And based on evidence and video and so forth, the county was able to get county police was able to get a search warrant. But until then, we actually were in the house when the house was vacant, and on the 14th, and we didn't see any evidence of foul play.
One question, just to be clear, Gray and Schuler had a child together. And with that being said, with this, I know the county's done a lot in regards to addressing family violence in the county. Would this fall under that?
This is domestic violence, it could be family, it could be intimate partner. There's an indication that they were not necessarily still in a girlfriend-boyfriend type relationship, but they do have a child in common. So we still consider her a special victim, which is why our special victims unit is handling the prosecution of the case. But this is violence against a woman who was 29 years old, who deserved to be here. She was a mother of three. So it's, classifying it one way or another is I mean, I think it's important for statistical purposes, but for the human purpose, I mean, it almost doesn't matter. She should be here. Yes. From my understanding, she did not live in that residence, that she was a resident of the District of Columbia. And I don't know if someone from MPD wants to share. Oh, they're not. Okay, so I don't have her specific residence, but my understanding is that she's a resident of the District of Columbia, and that's why she was reported missing in MPD. From what I understand, a member of her family reported her missing.
Tomorrow on the court documents, there is a hearing for the defendant, which is him as a defendant in domestic violence filing with us. Is that related to her? She previously filed?
Let me see. Jess, do you know? We'll have to look into that and get back to you. And you said this is on the civil side?
Online, it says that he has a hearing for domestic violence where he is a defendant.
Yeah, we handle like the criminal cases, so the domestic violence protective order cases that's handled civilly. So we'd have to look into it, and we can certainly get back to you.
As a whole, whenever we cover domestic violence stories, people will be quick to say that this process moves so slow, and why do these cases take so long? Do you think that these cases can be moved faster in terms of domestic violence?
Well, I'm not really sure what you're referring to, because there's the civil protective orders, which are pretty quick. I mean, those, you can get an ex parte protective order, a temporary protective order, as soon as possible. Like as soon as a commissioner finds that there's probable cause, they will issue a protective order, and then they'll set a hearing in like 7 days later, where both parties are there to make a final decision. So that goes pretty quickly, actually. So I'm not really sure what you're referring to in terms of the quickness of it.
What are the preventative measures when, police do show up at the home, there are complaints on both ends? What can be done if they see, with the preventative measures in terms of what can be done when, they go to the house, but maybe there's not enough for an actual arrest?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that obviously the police are able to do is provide information on the Family Justice Center and other services that are provided locally here in Prince George's County. I mean, one of the issues we often have is that you're dealing with people who are in either a familial relationship, or an intimate partner relationship, where they essentially, even though they may be getting abused, they feel protective of their abuser, and they don't seek the help, even though they are provided with resources. I think we have done a good job, honestly, as a county, when we look back at where we were in the earlier 2000s to where we are now. We've seen an over 40% decrease in what's called intimate partner homicides, where there are people who are unrelated by blood, but related because they have a child in common, or because they are in a girlfriend, boyfriend, or intimate relationship. I think that the resources we have here have been very effective in getting people housing, getting counseling, helping people find jobs, making opportunities for independence more real to victims. So we've seen that, and where we saw kind of an increase in this domestic violence was really on the familial side. But that's why I said every single incident is an issue for us. while we see certain trends going in a better direction, we know that one incident for that family, for that victim is, that is the ultimate tragedy. So it's hard to just look at the numbers and not remember that there are people behind those numbers, which is why we try, and I know that our police, and let me just say this, domestic violence calls, and I know the chief will tell you this, and both chiefs, are the most difficult calls to go on, because oftentimes they walk away knowing that the abused individual may get hurt again, but they don't want justice that day. They don't want to come forward. They don't want to tell their story that day. And the men and women who are the first responders that see the abuse, that have to respond to a home over and over again, it affects them too. It's hard when you know that this is a house you've been called to go to before, and you don't know the day that slap might turn into a strangulation or where a weapon may be used. These officers do their best to arm our victims with information and with support. But it really does take the victim being ready to come forward, to be ready to get the justice that is available to them. So in this case, it is very sad because there were clearly signs that this was a tumultuous relationship, that these individuals probably should not have been together. But when you have a child in common, it's tough not to have interactions. But it was clear that this was not a relationship that was going in the right direction. And now we have the ultimate tragedy, and a very, very, very young woman who's a mother of 3, who will never be able to hold her children again. That's tough. So I just wanted to say to my partners, MPD, Prince George's County, Capitol Heights, thank you for the work that you do. It's not easy. The homicide detectives, and I know that they'll probably provide some additional information that you'll see. You don't go upon crime scenes like this one every day, which is why obviously we're having this press conference. So I want to thank Detective Taylor and all of the other detectives and the crime scene investigators, because going on a scene like this, I'm sure was traumatizing and very, very hurtful to them. So I really want to just say thank you to them for the hard work that they have to do. Thank you.
How much effort was there into the age and the age of the other children?
We'll have to get back to you with the age of the oldest child. We're just trying to confirm that, unless someone else knows. I know it was her oldest child. It was the child that they had in common, and she has 2 other children.
Was she pregnant? There's social media posts saying that the family was pregnant.
Yeah, but that's not in our position to say that at this point. Probably even if I knew it, I wouldn't tell you right here at this time. That's for the family to discuss in a very private moment for them.
How much effort was
We'll take one more question.
How much effort do you guys believe that the defendant put into concealing the crime scene?
A great amount of effort, a great amount, a very large amount, what he was doing in that house. Commending the detectives, Capitol Heights, Prince George's County, for what they did and what they seen, without having a visible eye, to make an observation with a person who is missing and put those things together like pieces in a puzzle, and to go inside of that residence and see what Devontae Gray was doing in that house, then yes, it was a great amount of work being done and to conceal what he had done. Yes, a great amount of work. I don't know if we had I don't know if that was authorized. My BOI is it up there? You see behind me on this wall right here, in these stairs, you can see what they're looking at. Evidently, some major construction work was going on inside that house. And this is a shared residence of someone up top and someone at the bottom. And as you can see from this picture right here, where we've been allowed to show without compromising the early investigation of this case, it was there. A great amount of concealment, walls being, torn out, trying to conceal Miss Alexis Schuler. Yes. Well, we believe so. That's what my detectives would believe, and that's why we're putting this case together to hand over to our state attorney. That's what we believe. Just let me reiterate this, because the family is still, they still here? They gone? Okay. It is a horrific incident. It's horrific. And this person, with all the things that you guys may know, or some of the things that you brought up with the state attorney and Chief Morgan, and then you may know, and you're putting together some kind of puzzle, whatever this relationship was, at the very end of the day, then Ms. Schuler was a victim of a homicide, mother of 3, and a person committed a crime. According to the medical examiner, she was shot. And he tried to conceal that right here on a picture. So we don't want to stray away from all the real facts that occurred. Devontae Gray is in DOC right now, and our investigators, who you've heard their names multiple times, they're going to move forward and hand that case over to our state attorney's office so that they can deal with Devontae Gray. So in the interest of due process, everyone has a right to that. What we believe and what we know, the facts as we know him, we believe him to have committed this homicide and tried to conceal it. And as you heard, confessing to it for whatever the reasons may be. In my opinion, as the chief of police in 35 years in his job, there is no justification for your homicide of this person in this house. Simple as that. With that, I'm going to end questioning here. If you have any further questions or clarifications, see the manager, Brian Fisher, or Ms. Cotterman, and media relations, and then we'll get your questions answered. Thank you so much.